What's going on, everybody? This is the full guide for how to get a girlfriend in your 30s. So if you're a guy in your 30s, you're single, you want a girlfriend, this is the perfect video for you because there are a lot of challenges that guys in their 30s tend to face that younger guys don't tend to face. A lot of them are mental. A lot of them are physical. You know, you have friends that used to be around you and now they've moved away. Maybe they got kids, maybe they got a wife, and they don't hang out with you anymore, right? You're not meeting as many people. You're obligated to work, so you're working a lot too. All right, and people don't tend to go out quite as much when they're in their 30s. This doesn't mean they shouldn't go out. I absolutely think guys in their 30s should be getting out there, should be socializing. In fact, even if you're in a relationship, it's important too. But it seems like it would be a lot better if you already had the girlfriend, you already had your partner. And life can be a little bit difficult getting that once you have this routine and everything set up, okay? So I find that those are a couple things. And the other thing too is, you know, when you get to your 30s, if you haven't had a lot of success with women and now you're in your 30s, dude, you're like, is this ever going to happen for me? You know, you start to think about all of your 20s, all of that time that, you know, you weren't successful, and, you know, are you really going to be able to find someone that you're going to be happy with? Are you really going to be able to find someone who's going to be that perfect person for you? Maybe you've seen so many things online. Maybe you've met a lot of women that weren't right. Maybe you've met a lot of women that, you know, didn't actually show you the affection that you wanted. And so now you're in a position where you're like, is this actually going to happen? Well, dude, I guarantee you if you do these things, it will. So let's talk about what those things are. So what is this going to cover? This is going to be a longer video than what I normally do, obviously. So these are some of the common challenges that men in their 30s face and what to do about them. We're also going to talk about the common problems that men over 30 have with getting a girlfriend specifically. I'm going to talk about how I was able to attract, date, and keep a gorgeous feminine woman in my 30s. So we're going to talk about my girlfriend, and how that kind of evolved, and, you know, what were the things that were key there, and what are some of the key things that my clients have done that have gotten them into relationships. I've coached, you know, hundreds of guys into relationships now. So that will be something we talk about too, okay? So, and we'll talk about the right way to meet women. When you're in your 30s, probably want to change a few things up, okay? We're not going out to bars and clubs all the time to meet women. Cool. So this is my girlfriend right here. I was dating a few different women at the time when I met her. I met her, you know, right around the pandemic time, and then basically we got together shortly after. Okay, so this one came from online, but we actually met in person. I think a little bit before then, and basically during that time, like I said, I was already living a life that I liked. Even though it was the pandemic, I was already looking forward to the future, and I think that's one of the key differences between me and a lot of guys who are in this program or who come to me, is that they're always searching. They really, really want that to happen. And typically, the more that you need a girlfriend in your life, the less likely you are to get one, okay? Because you have that needy energy, and just you're going to do things subconsciously to ruin the potential, the potential interaction that could happen from that person, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about that and how to kind of create that. So if you are feeling like you need a girlfriend right now, how can you approach it in a way where you can actually get one? Because that needy energy is going to come out in a lot of ways. And a lot of it's going to take you doing some mental changes, some mindset shifts. And a lot of it's going to take changing your life around, so you can actually make this happen. Cool. So let's talk about what the grim reality of most men is. So if you're a guy in your 30s, then chances are you're probably suffering from a few different things here. Okay, so more than a quarter of all men over 30 are single, okay? And, you know, a quarter doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more closer to a third. So most men will make less than their fathers made, that's monetarily. Most men will not have children, that is, you know, a sad fact. Most men, if they do not get married, will marry someone that are not in love with or really attracted to, okay? So of the people getting married, of the people who are actually in relationships, a lot of those people don't even like the people that they're with, right? We have a divorce rate over 50%. Most of that is initiated by the woman. You know, you have a lot of men out there that are really not getting a great card handed to them, and it shows, right? The key thing here about a lot of men is that they don't want to be someone who is basically subject to what the society wants of them. If you're a guy and you're going into the world and you just want to be a good little boy and society will give you a great life, you're in for a rude awakening, okay? That shit don't happen. Okay, maybe it used to happen back in the 60s. Not anymore, right? Being a good little boy and doing what you're supposed to do doesn't get you an amazing life. It gets you a below average life. It gets you a life without purpose. It gets you a life without love. And it gets you a life where you aren't loving a whole lot. So is that a life you want? No. Okay. The average guy is going to go through things like this. You know, most men live lives of quiet desperation. And you really start to feel that when you hit the age of 30. You really start to feel that come over you where you're like, God damn, is this it? Is this what I'm set up to be? This is bullshit, right? The first time I had this realization, you know, was when I got out of college. And then the second time I really had it was around age 30. And man, dude, like it's not a fun place to be if you feel like you don't have things to look forward to. Cool. But let's talk a little bit about what life could look like, okay? What life could be with a great partner, right? Imagine if you were with someone who is smoking hot with or without clothes on, right? You could show her off too, but also she looks great in the bedroom. She cooked and cleaned for you. She was responsible. She wasn't giving you headaches every single day. She didn't drain you for money and even financially contributed to the lifestyle that you guys were living. She was fun. She was someone that you could go out with. She was someone that you could talk to, chill with, relax around. And she was down to have sex with you or suck your dick whenever you wanted. Wouldn't that make life better? That'd probably make life a lot better than it is now. And that's what I got in my girlfriend, right? I have that in my house, right? And you can have this too. That's the power of getting an amazing girlfriend. Someone who doesn't make your life worse, who makes your life a lot better, right? And if you're thinking about having children with this person, that's going to be super important too. You want someone who's like this. You want someone who can be this, who's going to raise your kids, who can be that feminine, strong force in your life. Or maybe you want someone who's a little bit more assertive too. Whatever it is your thing. I personally think that most guys would be better off with a feminine woman. But if that's your prerogative, that's your prerogative. This is absolutely possible for each one of you who's watching this, okay? And your life would get a lot better with this. I don't care who you are. Cool. So let's talk about that. What's going to make your life better. Now let's talk about what most men's lives look like right now. It's literally three things: work, workout, and sleep. And half of y'all don't even do the workout part, okay? So is this an exciting life for you? Probably fucking not. Okay, most guys live this life day in and day out. They got nothing to do on the weekend. They got no friends to share it with. They got nothing that's keeping them up, that's making them look forward to stuff. Maybe they have a UFC fight. Maybe they have the new Star Wars coming out or whatever it is that they're into. Okay, that's a lame life. And if you think you're not excited about it, guess what? No woman's going to be excited about that either. Okay? So, most guys who are 30 plus, they're doing the same thing every day. And those are the three things they're doing. Cool. So let's talk about the top ways that most people are going to meet their spouse. This is related to what we just talked about. We talked about the lifestyle of most guys. Now let's talk about the way that you're actually going to be able to meet your spouse. Okay, cool. Online dating. Most men do not get matches with women that they like. A lot of men don't get matches, period. But most men I found don't get matches with women that they're really into, okay? They're swiping, and she's like, she's okay, I guess, right? A lot of people meet their spouse through friends. That's still very popular, even today's day and age. I'd say, much higher percentage of people are meeting through online sources, but still a lot of people are meeting through friends. In fact, I'd say the highest quality, best-looking partner you're ever going to get is someone you're going to meet through a friend, right? Most people don't have a lot of friends, okay? At work, a lot of guys are at an office where they don't have a lot of women that they work with, or they work remotely, so they're not actually interacting with people. And then on top of that, if they do interact with people a lot, they're at a big company, they're worried about HR, they're worried about getting fired. Okay, I've actually coached a lot of guys to get with people at their company, but I also acknowledge that there is a safety risk there. Okay, if you know what you're doing, the safety risk is basically non-existent. It's minimal. You can handle it. But if you handle it wrong, you handle it incorrectly, it can have serious repercussions in your career. So a lot of guys want to avoid that. You can meet them through family. A lot of guys aren't getting any help from their family unless they come from a traditional household. Religious groups, yeah, sure. I've heard about some guys. I've actually had some clients meet somebody through religious groups. However, not everybody's religious. A lot of my audience isn't religious. So there's that. And then shared hobbies. Most guys don't even have hobbies when you hit your 30s. Okay, most guys, maybe they'll do a jiu-jitsu class every now and then, but most guys don't have a lot of hobbies, all right? So which one is realistic for you? From a lot of these, I'd say the average guy, most of these places isn't even realistic. So no wonder it's a hard time attracting and getting a girlfriend in your 30s if the most popular ways are pretty much out for most men, right? So what do you do in that case? Well, you have to break out of the mold, okay? Be an attractive guy, okay? Most men in their 30s, they have the highest potential for being attractive. Their potential is the highest. But when you actually look at them and what they're doing day in and day out, they're not doing the things that are making them into an attractive guy. And they get uglier and uglier and uglier each day. And I don't just mean uglier by looks. I mean up here too. There are attractive mindsets and there are unattractive mindsets. There are guys who are beaten down by life, continuously being told that they are not valuable, that they are not useful, that they are not attractive. And by age 30, you think there's any shred of confidence left within them? Probably not. Probably not. So by the habits that they do every single day, that will determine whether you're going to build confidence or whether you're going to have none of it left by the time that you reach that point, okay? And, for a lot of guys who are in their 30s who don't have confidence, you got to start building that back up, dude. That's the first thing. Then the look, okay? How many guys let themselves go after 30? How many guys stop hitting the gym? How many guys, or when they go to the gym, maybe they do zero cardio. They're literally they have a beer belly and they do bench and a few times and then they dip out after that, right? Come on. Lifestyle. Like I said, most guys, all they do is work, sleep, and then maybe they'll do gym, okay? These are not qualities that are going to make a guy successful. So what you want to do is you want to improve your lifestyle. Actually have cool things going on during the week. You don't have to have money to do cool things, right? It helps. Don't get me wrong. If the cool things you're doing that week is like skydiving and, going on a yacht through the Cayman Islands, hell yeah, that's cool. Most people can't afford that. But if you look to see the events that are going on, you can always come up with fun shit. Dude, some of the funnest things I've ever been to were free, right? Any guy, I don't care if you think that you are a 4 or a 2 out of 10 naturally. If you put time and work into it, you can absolutely be a good-looking guy. Every guy can get up to at least a 7. And if you think that you have no chance of getting up to a 7, you ain't putting in the work, okay? All right. Then the next thing that guys need to start doing is be a man who's meeting women. Most guys in their 30s, they basically just stop meeting women, and the only thing they're relying on at this point is dating apps, which they're not usually getting a whole lot of matches on. So have a life where you're actually encountering women. Believe it or not, having female friends is extremely valuable at this age. Do you know how many women, if I was single, do you know how many of my female friends would be hooking me up with other chicks if I was single? I can count like 5, right? So be a man who's meeting women. Be a man who has friends and a life outside of his relationship, right? So when you are someone who gets into a relationship, a lot of times it's tempting for guys to want to just stay in that. For guys just want to stay in the relationship and not go out and meet other people. Dude, that's how you maintain the relationship, is by having a life, by doing other things besides focusing on her the entire time to actually get you there. Okay, engage with women who you are attracted to. Okay, cool. So we talked about be a man who's meeting women. Now let's actually talk to women that we're attracted to. Most guys in their 30s don't meet women that they're attracted to. Okay, in fact, they don't meet any women. So we need to go to those places. We need to have a profile that's attracting them. We need to have stuff that is actually going to make it work. Okay, and knowing what to do and say. Right. If you haven't approached a woman since you were 25 and you're 33 right now. Yeah, that's a long time to have not approached somebody. So knowing what to say and do is very important. Okay, if you haven't learned how to pick up or approach or talk to a girl that you don't know by age 30, you can still do it. You're behind the ball, though. So let's get rolling. So is this a lot of work? Over time, it is. But each week only requires a few hours. So I'm going to talk about some of the solutions right here. Okay, so let's take, for instance, the average guy who works. So if you work 40 hours a week, what can you possibly add to your schedule that you can meet women through, right? So one of the things that I recommend is fitness activities, right? Here in Austin, we have a lot of fitness activities, okay? They have HIIT classes. They have stuff on the weekends too. They have special events. There's an app that you can download where you can meet people through. It's called Sweat Pals. I know the founder, all right? So Sweat Pals is one. There's also Full Circle events. Those work too. You're going to meet in-shape people there. You're going to meet women there, and you're going to be getting a workout. You're going to be, getting more good-looking yourself by getting more in shape. So you're accomplishing a lot of things. That time that you would normally spend working out, you go to one of these events probably 2 times a week. Even 1 time a week would make a difference. That's easy right there, okay? Then you also work on getting a better profile. Every single guy who I work with in this program gets more matches when they join me because they learn how to take better pictures. Every single guy, if they have what we work on their social media too, so you can reach out to women through social media. Again, it's dependent on your pictures, right? And then there's clever tactics that you can use to DM women that are actually pretty effective. The other thing is Facebook works really well. Once you get over 30, if you want to connect with somebody you went to high school with or college with, yeah, Facebook's pretty good for that. So you can use that as well too. Okay, so there are a lot of ways that you can do this, but filling up your week, making sure that your week is actually something that, somebody would want to be a part of, that you would want to be a part of, where you're meeting people and you're doing things. Dude, all it takes is a little bit of planning and being an adult. That's how all successful people are. I work 80 hours a week and I still find time to do social things. I still have a social network. I was still able to build a mansion full of entrepreneurs and guys who are now my best friends, have a girlfriend, maintain and build this business, train in jiu-jitsu 3 times a week, and I was able to be social on the weekends, and it was through planning. You guys can do this. It is possible. I'm not saying you have to have a life as crazy as me, but if you work 40 hours a week, you can do 2 things a week that are social. You can go out on the weekends as well too, okay? You don't have to go out at night. I'm not a nighttime go-outer as much anymore. I get way too... losing a lot of sleep is not great for me, especially if I have to work, which I usually do over the weekends. But you can go out during the day. There's plenty of fun things that you can do. And once you start doing this, you will start to see that your life is becoming better. Now, is that the only thing you need to do? No, that's literally step 1. If you don't know how to talk to women, if you don't know how to approach, if you're not confident with them and you've never been confident with women, right, especially with the kinds of women that you find attractive, do you think it's just going to magically turn on when you hit 30? No. In fact, for a lot of guys, it can get worse, okay? So what you need to do is you need to learn how to be confident, get that mindset, get that mentality up, okay? Knowing what to say and do is a really good place to start. Okay, so once you're going out and you're starting to meet more people and you're starting to gain confidence with women, there are some things that I wanted to mention as well too that I kind of skipped over, okay? So this is the men-women date in their 30s. This is typically another challenge I find with guys in their 30s is once they start to do this, then they can start to encounter some problems when they start dating women, okay? So there are some women who are over 30. If you're a guy over 30 and you start dating women who are over 30, there are some of them that are like really desperate to get into a relationship. Like they're like, I need a husband and kids yesterday, right? These are not the kinds of women that you want to be going out with, right? Because they're not looking at you. They're looking at you as like a chance for the life that they want, and they're not thinking about you. And that you want someone who actually thinks about you and considers, what you want and need, okay? Women, and I'm going to say this is not sexist, but women follow the men that they want. They will want to submit to a guy who is actually worthy of being submitted to. And if that guy is you, she will act feminine. She will do all the things that, that is required. She will want to do what you want to do. Not every time. She has preferences. She has things that she might not be into, but she will want to. It will be easy. It will not be a hard sell. It will flow pretty naturally. Now, if you're new to this and you're becoming that guy, it might be a little rocky getting to that stage first. But once you're there, dude, I don't have problems like that in my relationship. Like if I want to make a big decision, it happens. Right? I don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. I don't worry about things, falling down with this person. A lot of the stuff that I would read about with relationships, it just doesn't happen with me and my girlfriend. Okay. So, there are also women that you might date. So some guys in their 30s, they want to date women in their early 20s. women in their early 20s, they're usually too immature. They're usually women who are like going out to clubs every single weekend. Yeah, that's basically not the kind of person that you're looking to make for your girlfriend. Okay, let her do her fun thing. Unless you like going to clubs all the time too, but don't think that woman's going to settle down and have kids with you anytime soon. So, yeah, women who are young, they tend to look better, but they tend to be someone who's like tough to connect with. Okay, so if you're okay with that, then you can date younger women. Me personally, I think if you're a guy in your 30s, I think late 20s, mid 20s sometimes can work. Early 20s, I'd probably not do that for most guys. If you're just trying to have fun, who cares, right? But if you're, actually looking to make something happen, build something, yeah, late 20s, mid 20s is pretty good. Even women in their 30s. A lot of people think that like women after age 30, like they're just, their birth canals just close up and they can't have kids. No, that's not true. At 40 is really the cutoff period where women really have trouble having children. But 30s is fine. Cool. So the other kind of women that I see men dating is hot women who are too expensive, so that's too high maintenance. So they go for the really hot ones, and they tend to have problems with those. They tend to have drama. It tends to be an uncomfortable experience. And then the other women that they're like, well, okay, the hot woman's like too expensive, too high maintenance, too much drama, too much, me working for this. And so they're like, well, maybe if I get someone who's, not as attractive, is someone who's lower maintenance, low expense, a girl who's really into me, probably does all the things that you'd want from a girlfriend to do. If she doesn't, then, she knows she doesn't have a chance. But they try those women out, and a lot of times they don't experience the physical attraction or the desire for that person that they're really looking for. So you want to find someone who you're really into, looks-wise, but also has the other things that make life worth living. And the little things are really important, Can you spend a whole day or a few days in the same room with this person and not want to murder them by the end of it? That's really important, right? If you go on a trip with somebody, usually that's usually the big test, is if you go on a trip with them and you come away from that trip and you guys are still enjoying hanging out with each other. You're not totally sick of each other. Yeah, you might want to take, some time to yourself. But, yeah, if you're not sick of that person by the end, it's usually a pretty good sign. Cool. So those are the types of women that men date that are not good for them. So I'm going to give you a few tips to be able to find women that are good fits. First of all, having options helps. Typically, if you don't have a lot of options and you're in scarcity, these are the only women you're finding. Or you also find women with boyfriends or husbands and stuff like that, which can be kind of annoying. But if you're a guy who does have abundance, typically women like this will filter themselves out. The problem is 99% of men in their 30s don't have abundance. They don't. And they could, but they don't, right? You have the highest potential in your 30s, but most guys don't use their potential. So once you have abundance, this really helps. The second thing as well, too, is you don't just want to go for looks, you guys. The hottest girl who has like the skimpiest bikini pictures on Instagram, not the kind of woman that you want to date. This is basic information, but for some people, it's still really impactful, right? Because they're like, oh, yeah, I guess I am going for those kinds of girls all the time, okay? If every single Instagram photo of her is in a bikini, traveling around, and it's just her by herself, maybe another hot friend in there as the photo, yeah, that might be the photo that you stare at all day, maybe even want to jerk off to later, but it's not the kind of person that you should be getting into a relationship with. I'm telling you this from experience. Okay? You get a woman who has her clothes on, she takes photos of other things besides herself, her family, her friends, her crafts, or whatever girly stuff she's posting. That's the kind of woman who's probably going to be a lot better match, okay? So, having a filter on, not being impressed by a woman's beauty, all of those things are going to naturally filter like all of these things out. And you'll be able to spot other things quicker. But if you are blinded by these things, if you are blinded by your own insecurity and you don't have the confidence to be able to turn away from a really good looking girl, or you literally don't have the options to be able to pick from ones that are decent, then yes, you are going to fall into this trap. And most guys have little to no women in their lives, and so a lot of them end up doing that. So what you want to do is you want to develop an abundance mentality and then abundance physically as well too. You know from your network that opportunities are going to present themselves, right? If I have a party here at my place, I know how many women we can get here. I know the kind of selection of women once she's in my house at my party that I could potentially get. So if I throw something like that, or if I ever look to see, what kind of woman could I possibly attract? I don't have to think long about that. I don't have to think long. If you're like, I have no idea how this is ever going to work out, you're in scarcity, right? So that will solve a lot of your problems for the kinds of women that you're dating. Now let's talk about how to break out of the mold, right? So we've talked about this before, but one of the things that is really, really going to help is finding things that are going to make you genuinely happy, okay? So, and it's got to be outside of the house, right? Build confidence with women to know you deserve this. The more you interact in environments where you're having a good time with women that you like, positivity feeds into itself. But if you're forcing yourself, to do everything, to go to things that you don't want, to do things that you don't want to do all the time, to get something that at the end of the day you're beginning to question because you're doing all these things you don't like to get it, none of that works. You're working 20 times as hard and getting 20 times less the result. But when everything's working together, that's when life is good, opportunities are throwing themselves at you. It's incredible, right? So it starts with the week that you build. It starts with the confidence and the skills that you're building within itself, right? So build confidence with women to know you deserve this. Be social. Talk to women on a regular basis. So this means approaching women, learning how to approach in a way that's both you can go a little more aggressive when you're in your 20s. When you're in your 30s, you should be a little bit more laid back. Be a little bit more laid back, have conversations, and have conversations without having to get something out of it all the time, right? Get used to just like asking people how their day's going. Get used to just making comments about someone when they're looking at something. Get used to smiling at people as they walk past you. When we hit 30, this is what happens, you guys. So many guys get into like a haze. They get into a haze. They're just walking through life, maybe with their AirPods in or whatever, and they've done things so many times that they have no interest in connecting with anybody around them. They literally don't pick their head up to look to see what's going on around them. They're constantly looking at just, their phone, the next thing. They don't see the opportunities that are around them. Dude, when I was at Trader Joe's, the amount of women there with carts that were around my age that I could have possibly talked to was insane. And I did talk to a few of them, but that's because I had my head up. I could have gone into Trader Joe's, AirPods in, not talking or listening to anybody, and just gone through it, and I could have done that every single day. But if I go in there with my head up every single day, I might not talk to someone that I want to date then, but I may talk to someone, a couple months from now by doing that every single day, once a week. That's 8 times going to Trader Joe's. 1 out of 8 times I meet a girl. That's pretty realistic odds. Can absolutely happen. But you got to pick your head up. You have to be present. If you by 30 years old, you're just so used to doing life that you're sick of it and you're jaded and you're bitter. Like nobody wants to get with that guy. They want to get with the guy who's excited about the future. They want to get with the guy who's going to, so many of y'all are waiting for women to save you. What you have to understand is that that's the mentality that she's thinking. She doesn't want a guy who she wants to save. That's the most feminine thing ever. Feminine and weak. You want to be the guy who's like, hey, let me take you in. Let me bring you into my world because my world's awesome. You're going to have a good time there, right? Your world starts with building your mind to a place where you actually like yourself. And the way that you do that is by doing things every single week that you enjoy and that you're making progress at. I think as men, we always have to feel like we're making progress. So for me, that was building up social skills, doing jiu-jitsu, doing workouts, building up my business, all of those things together. If I saw progress in all of those areas, dude, I was a happy man, and I was like, people wanted to be around me. If I wasn't making progress, nobody wanted to be around me, okay? So the other thing, too, is having a dating profile that gets you matches with attractive women. We talked about this before. Most of y'all, dude, I've seen some profiles by grown men who have had their entire 20s to take good photos, and all of their photos look like absolute shit. They look terrible. Have good photos. It's not that hard to take good photos. All you have to do is actually take them. First of all, work on your smile, get an outfit and clothes that fit you, get something that makes you look good. I would say 99% of guys that come to my program, they are selling themselves so short with their profiles, with their photos, with everything. And it makes me sick that these people are going out there and think that this is going to get matches. How do you think this is going to get matches? It's crazy. Okay. So the photos don't just help for your dating profile. They also help for your Instagram as well, too. They also help for your social media. Now, if you're not a big social media guy, that's fine. But I still would recommend, you can use Facebook as a long shot, too. Facebook's pretty good for a lot of my clients with hitting up people from high school, from school, or whatever. People with mutual friends, too. You can add new people. Okay, so there are other strategies such as social media that can help. So I already went over a couple of those things. But those are going to be some of the stuff that you want to work on as well, too, okay? So what does this look like overall, okay? This looks like a life that we are creating that we can actually enjoy. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to be fun for me. I don't know how to break out of this. Dude, that's why I help guys with this personally, is we give you a personality test. We give you, we talk about your interests. We talk about crafting something that's actually going to be a worthwhile life for you. Right, I've done this with hundreds of guys, okay, and that's the first step we really need to getting into, to make our week worth living and bringing somebody into that week and making theirs better and making yours better too. Cool. So here's some examples. Basically, these are guys that I've helped out. So most weren't meeting women they liked, and all were purely relying on apps. Okay, so this is, I have way more examples than this. But we have so many different examples of guys here. So basically, these people were, when they first came into my program, some of them had challenges where maybe they would get a date sometimes, but it wouldn't go anywhere. Most of them weren't meeting women that they wanted to meet, they were actually attracted to regularly in real life. And a lot of them, their apps, weren't really getting them what they wanted, okay? So they met people in the program, they got friends and hobbies, built their community, they started meeting women in person, okay? Doing things that they actually enjoyed. They got better matches on the apps. And a lot of them, once they learned the mentality and the confidence and what to say and do, and taking them through the process of understanding women, understanding themselves, actually learning how to have some game, being able to tease, all of that stuff, mix it all together. And once those people were going on dates with the people that they were actually attracted to, now they knew how to keep them. Now they knew how to keep them attracted. They also learned how to get the date in the first place. But they didn't lose the girl when they went out on the date with them and they found out that okay, this guy's boring. He only had one or two cool lines or whatever. They actually turned themselves into an awesome person, okay? So all of these guys that you see right here are either in relationships or married after the program. And typically, I would say the amount of time that you want to allocate for getting a girlfriend from now until then is like probably 6 months, right? So a lot of this happened through online dating, through friends that they met in the program. So like either they had female friends or they met people through their social events and hobbies that they went to. Those were the most popular things there, okay? And also, too, I had a few guys meet through social media. So I helped them craft their photos, helped them craft their profile, helped them craft their messaging and all that stuff. And they were able to meet people through that as well, too. So this is absolutely possible for all of you guys who, are in your 30s and looking for a girlfriend, okay? So this is basically my quick summary of how to get a girlfriend in your 30s. It requires you to enhance all those different things. It does not require that much work a week if you know what you're doing, okay? The problem is most people, they just don't even know where to start. It seems like a lot of work, and so they just don't do it. So now, You are probably one of two people right now if you have made it this far. So first of all, congratulations for making it this far into the video. Number one, you like the information and are just going to go on to another YouTube video later, and you'll maybe execute later. If that's the case, thank you so much for attending. Appreciate you coming. Okay. Or you're number two. You are tired of just watching videos and not getting results and are ready to actually make a change. If you are a number two, okay, yeah, if your answer was number one, thanks for coming, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next training. You can find additional free resources and wingmen in your area by joining my free school group. But if you were a number two, then consider working with a professional like myself to really get these issues handled. Okay, so 99.9% of all guys who spend time watching content online don't actually make changes that they want. They don't actually do it. It's easy to watch videos. Everybody watches videos. Everybody's watching the same shit all over, okay? Most people aren't getting results. It's actually getting worse for men year in and year out, okay? But it's the men who make an actual commitment that say, hey, I'm going to draw a line in the sand right now, and I'm sick of not getting a girlfriend in my 30s. I'm going to get this handled. Those are the people who make a commitment to it that actually get results. So if you are that person, then click the link in the description, fill out the application to schedule a free call with me or a member of my team. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm looking for. We got the holidays coming up. This is the perfect time to join to get a girlfriend. I usually add a few weeks for the holidays anyway, so you probably get the best deal during this time as well. And I'd love to talk to you and hear about your story, okay? There's plenty of guys who have gone through this process who haven't gotten results, and it's because they didn't make the commitment to do so. But all of these guys did, and like I said, there's dozens more. And so if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Good luck up there. Hopefully I get to talk to you soon. Bye.